Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Bancroft Brothers Animation Podcast. Hey, Tommy.
I am loving it, Tony. We just had Christmas, and this is the post-Christmas kind of little bit of relaxation time, and kind of still
Oh
playing with our
yeah,
toys, right? What do you like your toys?
I got some good toys. I'm a Snoopy fan, Tom.
I do.
I think if the fans know anything about me, they know that I was raised on Charles M. Schulz. I love anything by Peanuts,
Oh, I
Peanuts
didn't know you
Pets.
had fans. Are you talking about family?
And I'm
Yeah.
talking about the fans out there that are listening to the podcast. Where we
Oh,
roam.
I thought
Our
that was
7 listeners, thank you so much for showing up again, you guys. We
yeah.
really love you. Thank you to our Patreon people too. Really appreciate you. But Mary Kaliki Maka is like how I like to say, and we're
Mhm.
coming to you guys. We're recording this the on it is New Year's Eve day.
Yeah. New
New
Year's
Year's
Eve
Eve
day.
day. We're looking into 2025. From here, I can see the future, Tom. And you know what? It looks dark and stormy.
Oh, stop. That's not the way to start the year.
No, I
There's
like
plenty
to
of
start
people
the year
that
with a
already
lot of
think
hope.
that, Tony. There's a lot of
Well,
people out there saying
I'm
it.
in California. It is a little rainy and overcast today, which is unusual. But
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, the animation industry, we've gone through some trials and tribulations. I actually am pretty bullish about what's happening in the new year in 2025. I really do think things are going to pick up with different
Tony, I,
productions.
I got to jump in and just, agree with you on that. And there was this whole mantra, especially in Hollywood, it was like survive till 25, right? That was the
Right.
mantra in Hollywood, especially in the live action areas. You'd hear it a lot. Basically, just get through it. Now it's like persist to 26. I just made that one up, but I like it.
Did you?
Um,
Oh, you're going to start that?
Meaning, like,
20?
start making, I think the persistence in my mind is like, start making those steps forward to have a really successful 26. That's what 25, because some of it's going to be out of our hands. Let's be honest. We don't control, none of us, not even you and me at the power brokers of animation. We don't control, I just made that up too. We don't control, any of this stuff. I have a
No.
company, we're going to go to Kids Screen, and I do want to announce that if there's anybody going to Kids Screen, look for me. I'm the one with the beard. I'm going to keep that at least through then. And, just say
Completely bald.
hi, come
Yeah.
up to me and say you love the podcast. That'll make my day. And then I'll talk to you. Right? That's a
Oh,
good
that's
entry.
the permission to speak. You got to start
Yeah.
with a compliment. Like, give them a
I
dollar.
mean, that's
Say you like
true.
the podcast.
Just for our timid animation friends that are out there, it's true of everybody. Start with a compliment. It kind of gets you in, right?
Hey, I
So,
like your haircut. Oh,
huh,
wait, you don't have any hair.
nice shoes is a good one.
Nice shoes.
Everybody wears shoes.
I like your fingernail polish is another one. Please, last but not least, February is coming to town, guys. It is coming up fast
Mm.
here. February 21st through the 23rd is in Nashville is the Animation Y'all Expo. This thing is blowing up, Tom. I got to say, I've been looking at ticket sales. They've been going up. So people want to get their tickets early and
Yep,
soon. So go
that's
to
right. Well, and
animationyall.com.
Tony, we made the big announcement online, but as we haven't really done a lot of advertising, we really need to, honestly.
Yeah.
But we have amazing exhibitors. You can go to the website, see just a really big sampling or a quick sampling of the exhibitors. And that's like Amanda McFarland, The Animated Life online, Lauren Barger. We have Steven Silver's coming. Those are just the exhibitors. Okay. Um, that's pretty amazing. And then on top of that, and there's only 50 exhibitors. So this is going to be a much more intimate kind of an experience. You're going to have a lot of one-on-one time with these artists. But here's the
Yes.
big mic drop. Tony,
Do
we
it.
have,
Do it.
you know this already. We have an animation legend, literally a Disney animation legend. Mark Henn is coming.
Bam. Drop. That
We
was it.
already had Aaron Blaze, director of Brother Bear, an amazing art teacher. Everybody knows Aaron. He's online on YouTube and elsewhere, just banging it up. He's going to premiere his short film that he's been working on for a few years now called Snow Bear. It's going to premiere at our event, and it's a separate ticket price, but you're going to want to sign up for that separate ticket price, which is a night with Aaron, a screening of the film, and an extensive he's going to go through his animation
Yeah,
process.
it's really, the night with Aaron is really like a lecture.
It's like a master class.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a date with Aaron. Just so you know, you don't go out on a date with him or anything. You can't win.
And why would
that.
you really want to? Honestly,
He's a great guy.
no, he's nice.
I got a man crush on Aaron Blaze.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But besides Aaron, besides Mark Henn, there's also John Pomeroy coming. There's Shannon Hollenstein also coming.
Oh my gosh, we haven't announced Shannon, have we?
I think
enough.
we did on one of the other past podcasts, but if you don't know, she is the Blue Leviathan on Instagram. A lot of you guys follow her.
You already follow her.
She's a master. So we have all kinds of people coming. It's really to celebrate animation. Yes, it'll be a little 2D centric with some of these. I'm going to just say it, old guys coming and Tom and I hosting it, but I will say it is. It's going to be special all around. There's going to be gaming people there. There's going to be studios there, portfolio reviews. All these people are going to be doing portfolio reviews. They've all said, "Yeah, we'd love to help out and look at student portfolios and stuff." So, if you're a student, if you're a pro, and if you're local to the South at all, and if you're anywhere in the South, this is for you. Come travel out, even if it means a little day drive or something with your best guy or gal. Get in the car and come out to Nashville right now for Animation Y'all, February 21st.
And for those that are just on the collectible side, I got to throw this in for, like, say, Loricana cards or for animation art or something like that. Mark Henn does not get out much. He does not like to do a lot of conventions. He's doing this as a favor. He loves Franklin, Tennessee. Hopefully he'll stay and kind of explore a little bit the Civil War area.
He's a Civil War
buff, and him and John Pomeroy can go out and explore that. But what I want to say is this is a great time for you guys. It's worth your plane ticket probably to get him to sign some stuff, because you're not going to find him anywhere else, honestly. So we'll definitely have some time, right, Tony, to sit him down at a table and say, okay, these few hours are Mark Henn signing.
We're going to do a signing for sure. And Tom, last but not least, I don't know if you heard it, and it's kind of a new announcement, happened at the end of last year, or this year as we sit right now. But Aaron Blaze was nominated by the Annies. The Annie Awards is like the equivalent of the Oscars for the animation industry. And the Annies are going to give him a Lifetime Achievement Award called the Winsor McKay Award. Aaron Blaze,
amazing,
at his young age, is getting a Lifetime Achievement Award. And so he'll have that, Tom, because I think that happens in, I want to say early February. The first week of February is the Annie
will have
Awards.
just happened a few weeks before that.
I think he might have his Winsor McKay with him and probably beating off the fans with it.
Probably doubtful that he'll bring it with him, but he will have just won it. Anyway, again, we got a Disney legend and a Winsor McKay Award winning artist coming. Let's wrap that up, Tony. Please go get those tickets now, guys. There is a VIP experience. Is that sold out, by the way?
That is sold out, Tom. The VIP is sold out. You can only get combo tickets for Saturday and Sunday. There are student discounts too. Please put in your bring your student ID when you come, but you can buy the student discount ticket too. Yeah.
Good prices, I think, this year, because it's our first time. So anyway, come and enjoy that. We got to get onto our podcast. Tony got up. We didn't say this. We are all coming from different parts of the world tonight.
Yeah.
I'm in Nashville still. Tony is in California celebrating the birth of his newest grandchild. Yeah.
Yes.
Grandson.
Yeah. Little Owen.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Congratulations, Tony. That's amazing.
Wow, he's a little cutie. I've been spending time with the other grandchild too. That's already been around for a year and a half. Little Malachi. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's a spitfire. And I found out more recently, just before Christmas, that and at Christmas found out the sex, but I'm going to be a grandfather too for the first time. And so I'm going to have a little grandson. I found that out on Christmas.
Yeah, and I think you say gender, Tom. You don't say sex, because babies don't have sex. They have gender. That's how you say it.
Well, no, sex means gender. It's the same thing.
Okay,
we're going to bring on our guest tonight to clarify this issue for us. So, hey, everybody, we have some excitement for you. This is somebody that Tony and I were fans of already before actually getting to work with her just recently. And I just want to welcome on Izzy Burton. Come on down. Hi, Izzy.
Hey. Nice to see you guys.
Thank you for being on the show, Izzy. Oh my gosh. Yeah, You didn't say it, Tom, but we're working with Izzy on Light of the World. It's the new 2D animated feature about the life of Jesus, as seen through the disciple John. Tom and I have been working on it for like 2 years, and Izzy and Tom work very closely doing character designs, right?
Well, not near close enough, and not character designs. So kind of wrong on both sides. But go ahead, Izzy. Tell us about your.
We kind of did in the poster, I guess. But yeah, I was on the environment team with Epifio. But yeah, do you want me to do a little spiel about who I am?
Yeah,
I'm
love
sure
that.
no one knows who I am.
No. I mean, yeah, you're newer to the US industry. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
You are in the UK, just outside of London. And first, though, you have to clear up this. So when I say that somebody's sex, I'm talking about their gender. Is that how you see it, Izzy? Is this you're from England, so you know English?
Well, I feel like I'm the worst person to ask because I don't want to have children and I don't have any children, so I wouldn't even know. I might have to pass on the question. But
At least here in the States, you don't do a sex reveal, you do a gender reveal. Because
they call it that.
Connotation, it's creepy. It's just creepy, Tom, when you say sex in reference to a child.
I would say it's probably, you could say it's clinical. Or because that is the technical term, for gender is what is their sex, right?
It's creepy.
No, there's two different ways of using the word, radically different.
Izzy, tell us a little bit about your upbringing and animation. What are some of the projects you've done?
Oh, the projects I've done. Oh, lots now, really. It's kind of all over the place. I think that's one of the exciting things that I've enjoyed. I've just been working with you guys, obviously, on Light of the World. That was a year and a half of my time, which was really exciting. Before that, I kind of have been on and off freelance with like permanent jobs here and there. So I was an art director at the studio Golden Wolf in London for a little bit. And I worked at Netflix as a visual development artist and a lead background artist on a show that was sadly cancelled. That was another year and a half of my life. And that was very exciting. That was my first like big US thing. And then I've done quite a lot of stuff in advertising in the UK. I'm currently doing a bit with Aardman at the moment. I've done children's books. I've directed some short films. I'm trying to write. My literary agent keeps saying I'm supposed to say that I'm a director, artist, and author, but I haven't published anything. So I'm a little bit of everything, and I've done a little bit of everything. But animation across all.
I just want to dig
ranges.
into that. A literary agent is saying use the word author, even though you're not published. I can tell you have a little bit of a problem with that. I'm surprised that person is telling you to say that, because doesn't that, again, I'm getting into the dictionary terms here.
Yeah.
Doesn't that literally mean you are published if you're an author?
So because I haven't written anything new recently, but 2 years ago I had a book that was out for submission to publishers. So she was like, "You've written a book. You are an author. It's not published, but you've written a book."
Oh, okay.
So I'm supposed to add it to my.
And you know what?
Now I get it. I get it.
String to my bow.
But that's important because a little off the topic a bit is that she is an author because it's about the doing of the art of the work.
Right.
It is about the doing. Just like we all, as we're listeners here, we're probably all artists. We're not artists because we are popular. We're not artists because somebody has hired us and therefore we're professional artists. We are artists because we make art. Just like Izzy is a fine writer, I am sure. I'm adding fine because I'm sure she's of a high quality level, but she is a writer for sure.
Izzy doesn't mess around, but yeah, I'm glad we kind of dug into that because I know we all have sort of guilt when we were young, right? When we're very young and your parent says, "Oh, this is Izzy. She's an artist." Like literally that label gets put on us, usually by others first, because we're timid about it as artists, and they'll put that label on us as a very young, very young age. It's rare for anybody to say to a 5-year-old, or I don't know, we'll say 10-year-old, and she's a writer. You know what I mean? Or she's a doctor, right? I mean, almost no other title gets kind of, in a way, thrust upon you like artist does. And I think we all live in a little bit of a guilt about kind of claiming that too early, because I used to say, well, yeah, I'm an artist, but or like I like to draw, like that kind of thing. But like not till I get paid, am I an artist?
But remember, for us, Tom, I think, and I know for me, but I think I'm speaking for you too. Excuse me. It was cartoonists. Like we were okay with calling ourselves cartoonists.
That was a notch
like
below.
a lower level.
Yeah.
But
Izzy, do you remember any of that? Did you have some of that when you were growing up?
No, I've had a lot of people like, I think I don't know if it's an English thing, but when people say, oh, you work in cartoons, and you're like, no, it's animation. I feel like it was, again, it's that cartoons was like it's almost like a looking down on it. And that's probably why you felt confident saying it more, because it felt like that. And so, I feel like you have to sometimes specify stuff, but yeah, I was always writing from my mum's got books that I was writing, very little books from when I was 5 and 6. I was obsessed with writing, and all of those books have a little rainbow on, and it says Rainbow Series. So I like made a pretend publisher that all the books are under this Rainbow Series, and like from 5 to like 10, there's this like masses of little books I wrote. So
you were very early into branding. I like that.
Yeah. You're like thinking about the economics of it. Well, I gotta have a publishing company. What would that name be? Okay, I gotta work on my logo.
But
was that your hold on, Tom?
Though.
Was that your inroad into drawing and on more of the art side? Was that you were a storyteller and you like to come up with these stories, and then you needed to populate your little children's books and things?
Yeah, I was always writing stories and illustrating them. There's like a picture I actually have on my website, I think on my About Me page, which is me writing on the wall of the house, like a whole story, that my parents were going to knock that wall down, so I was allowed. But and I was even making little animations on like Windows Movie Maker and Microsoft Paint with a mouse, or I was making little stop motion stuff, or I would steal my mum's video camera and film like my brother's action men being like war heroes in vegetable patch to look like No Man's Land. And I made I went really far with the branding. I made a whole DVD case and put it into a real DVD case. I made the whole branding of the DVD and made the film. So I always was going like beyond, pushing what I could do. And I think what I like
to hear in that story, and this was Tony and I do think it's worth digging into a little bit, in that what you're saying is you were looking at pros and saying, I have to match that. And Tony and I were like that too.
Yeah.
We would look at pros. We weren't looking at peers. We didn't have Instagram back then. Obviously, we didn't have the internet. So we weren't looking, we couldn't see really peers that much. I mostly saw Tony's crap. But sorry. But
I was just a cartoonist.
I know. And you were still in training. I was still working with you on that. But anyway, the funny part is that, I think those people like you, Izzy, and Tony and I, and other people that I've met, we do a podcast. I don't know if you've heard of it, but we talk to a lot of artists. And but we've heard that story many times where they were like, no, I was trying to be this up here, and it was the top person, basically. And it can be hard. And I think it takes a special person, and maybe you could speak to this, Izzy, is that will or that determination, where so many people can get destroyed looking that high and going, I'll never reach that. And they're comparing their work to that. That's why they reach out to peers and look at something across and go, oh, I'm better than that person. I
would actually say so I have a sister who's 10 years older than me. So she was always drawing. And I think I would have found drawing anyway, but I was doing a lot of it because she was cool and I wanted to be like her. And I think a lot of that drew me into art. But then she is also someone that later on, I was always one of those natural high achievers in school and stuff. So I was doing maths like 2 years ahead of my age group and things. And because of that, people are always telling me, you can be anything, you can do this and that. And my sister was actually someone that I think when she was in her 20s and I was a teenager, she sat me down and said you can be nothing as well. You don't have to be anything. And she was trying to give me permission that everyone was saying to me, wow, Izzy, you can do this, you can do that. And she just wanted to be and it's okay though, if you don't want to. So I think that really stuck with me, because she was kind of trying to be there's these people that you're looking up to and you want to be this best of this and best of that. But you can also, it's totally fine if you just if you wanted art to be your hobby, or if you and you did it something else. So I really appreciated that. But yeah, she was the original
That's
artist
great.
in my household.
Do you think that part of that was that she felt like you were kind of not enjoying the ride, that you were a little bit miserable all the time because you weren't at that level, like frustrated?
I don't think so. I think I'm someone that doesn't stop. So even today, I just accidentally found my diary from like the end of in my current year's diary. At the end, I'd written January, like, take this year to relax and really think about self-care. And I have not. Like, I'm on a motor. So I think even like my primary school, which is like when you're like 5 to 11, all my reports were, Izzy does everything really well, but she does go rather fast, so she could make a mistake sometime. And like, I'm just very speedy. Everything is like tick, 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 tick. And I have been diagnosed with ADHD this year, so that makes a lot of sense now. But I think my sister was probably seeing that I was I'm very hyper focused, and I get very like stuck in this like motor. And I think she was trying to remind me that I could slow down and just be relaxed.
Yeah,
but
smell the roses.
it's a bit impossible.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah.
I respect that though. Yeah.
I think I follow you, Izzy. I not stalk you, but I'm a fanboy of you. And so I follow you on Instagram. You're always your posts. And if anybody doesn't know, go check out I think it's at Izzy Burton. Is that right? Is that your
Izzy
Instagram?
Burton Art. So art on the end.
At Izzy Burton Art.
Yeah.
Check her out because she's always posting the best things. Not only your art, but also your fashion sense. So you do take time.
I see your OTs all the time, right?
Yes.
Is that what
you're wearing in the day and your dog and stuff. There seems to be a lot of nice balance there on your page, though. You know, it's not just about your art and stuff too. But now you started. I want to say you did. Well, I'm going to get this wrong. Probably. Did you go to Gobelin? Is that where you studied art?
No, I didn't. I studied so I live in Brighton, which is one seaside town in England, but I studied in Bournemouth, and it gets confusing because they're both seaside towns beginning with B. But I went to Bournemouth University, and I did quite a technical animation course, which was like you had to have done maths to get into it as well as art, and that's kind of where I came from because I wasn't even considering doing animation, but my mum kind of spotted that I was getting excited about animation on like much more technical courses like computer science and stuff. I'd be like, oh look, in second year you can do animation for like one module, and my mum was like, maybe you should do animation if you're that excited. So it was very lucky that she spotted that. But yeah, I was doing quite a technical course there where they taught you like the breadth of 3D animation. So the fact that I became an artist was a little bit of like good luck because that wasn't really what we were doing so much. We did a bit, but like not tons. So I came from quite a technical background of like doing lots of programming and like rigging and compositing and all those kind of things. And luckily getting to direct the projects at university. So I think that was kind of where I found my way through of like that I loved, coming up with a story and directing and doing the art for it. So yeah.
And you made a student film, and I'll let you talk about the title and where people can see it, because I think it's still out there though. But I have seen it, and I think it's beautiful. It shows at a very early age in college that you were an excellent designer and you had a real vision for storytelling too. So can you talk a little bit about that short film?
Yeah, so that short film I think you're mentioning, Via, I actually did that in my first couple of years in industry, but at the studio that hired me because of the short film that I made at university. So at university, I did this like I basically used like 50s and 60s infomercials from the US that were like the public audio that you could use, and I cut it together to make a story and did like a UPA kind of 60s inspired animation. And
fantastic.
That kind of freshness and difference is what got me my job at a studio in London called Blue Zoo. And it was them that let me make this short film Via that won a ton of awards and stuff. And that was exciting because the studio there at Blue Zoo, every 6 months, they put out a brief and let anyone in the studio, from the accountant to the storyboard artist to the production people, anyone can pitch an idea for this brief to make a short film. And I had pitched, I think, 4 or 5 times and lost every time. And I slowly realized that like I was pitching quite bleak, sad things, and the things that were winning were like the fun, cool stuff. And I thought, oh gosh, I'm never. And they were known for very like funny character animation, and I was trying to like bring through a bit more of a heartfelt thing. They even wrote one of the briefs specifically for an idea I had, and it was funny because then someone else won it and made the most beautiful BAFTA nominated film, but I didn't win it. So I kind of went to them in the end and said, hey, can I still make this short film, but just in my spare time in between client work that we're doing? So I then over the course of like 18 months just like pootled away at this little short film, and then as it kind of became a bigger thing, they let me have some of the 3D team to come on and just help me with like building the characters and animating the characters, because that was the bit that I wanted to have animators so that they could do a better job than I could have. So yeah, I ended up directing this little short film, and it was very poetic, and it was kind of like my calling card. And it probably is now phased out of being my calling card, but it was for a very long time a bit of like, these are like the kind of poetic, slightly melancholy, but like bittersweet and kind of hopeful in a way, things that I want to say. So I was very glad that I got to make that. And it was very exciting to go and see it in places. I got to go to like Seattle to like a little island film festival, and I got to go like around the UK and see it at places. So yeah, it was pretty cool. And I was only I think I was 24 when it was released. So it was really exciting.
Yeah, so you won some awards, and you kind of traveled around. You did a lot of film festivals. That's something that I talk to we have a lot of grad students that we work with at Lipscomb University, where Tom and I teach at, and we're just starting to go out there on the film circuit, film festival circuit. Is that something that you would encourage other students, if they have a film that they're working on in school, is to try and get it into festivals and take that route?
Yeah, it's quite expensive, I think, sometimes, like applying to lots of festivals. So I was lucky that I had a studio who kind of was submitting on my behalf. So I understand that for a lot of people, sometimes the money aspect of it is quite difficult. But in terms of actually being at them, it was amazing. Like even now, like there'll be people I met and like kind of chatted to at the time, but now I'll suddenly see them again on social media and they're doing incredible things. And it's so nice to see those people like coming through different places. And one film festival, I met an incredible live action short filmmaker who I sat on like a dinner table with, because it was one of those events where there was dinner and everything, and had such a lovely chat with him. And he'd actually come from an animation background and was now doing live action and kind of directing TV shows across Asia. And he's recently this year had a feature film, his debut feature film out, and it was like, I think it won like the main award at South by Southwest as well as winning like the breakthrough at. So like I've seen him progress from this like little film festival we were at in London to like doing this amazing feature film. And so I think it's great to like kind of keep those people in your, like, to meet those people, and like you know, everyone grows at different rates, and it's kind of the same thing of making, you know, really good connections with your peers, because people like go up through the industry and they'll get new jobs and they'll meet people, and then if you're kind of still in with those people, you're all kind of coming together with all these connections from different areas of life. And I think that's really exciting.
I've had those experiences where I've gone to some film festivals, live action film festivals, that have like a little anime. Honestly, animation is the small part of it, you know. Oh, we have one category so there's like a hand, maybe two, you know, animators there. You're one of the two, but it's all live action people. And what I found, same thing. They're all fascinated by you. You sort of stand out. And what's nice is too, then you become the only animator they know their whole life. And so if they do anything commercial, whatever, down the road that needs an animator, they call you up. So it is kind of a gold mine of contacts, because they don't meet many people like you. And so I just,
and it's so it's also fascinating because a lot of a few film festivals that I went to drinks after, I just like talked to someone randomly I've sat next to or stood next to, and you'd find out that they directed this like feature film that was going all over this place, and like because you just don't, I was clueless, I don't know who any of these people are, you just end up talking to some really interesting people that like I feel like if I'd known who they were, I probably would have been too scared to actually say, oh hello, I'm Izzy, I'm making this little film, like, you know, it's nice almost that you don't know about them in the industry. But yeah, I think film festivals are great for that.
Tony, I want to derail our questions right now and get into a little bit more specific, because what I'm starting to see with Izzy is that it's personal. Your art is personal, and I love that. Tony and I are so commercial. I mean, just it's actually Light of the World is the first project that I can say both of us feel is a personal thing, you know. Before this, it was Disney and whatever job came along for the money, and whatever
would make the most money. Absolutely.
Honestly, we just
we'd
wanted
sell
to be
out.
Rich. It wasn't
sell,
but
sell.
Long story short, I don't see that in your career at all. I see it on what you post on social media. It's like your life and your art seems to be very intertwined. And so what that means is you are always looking for these side projects to do, your own projects, your own films. And I love that. And you're trying to get into directing. That's a big goal of yours, I know, right now. And you've already done it with these shorts. But how does that gel, that kind of person? Because there's a lot of people out there that are like you, right? They want their art to be a personal thing. And in animation, it's a very commercial thing. Like, you're basically, to survive, you just can't do your personal shorts. Nobody's paying for that. And so you have to take commercial work all the time. And can you give me some sort of examples? Are there sort of things that you've had to turn down because you're like, I don't feel anything for that because it's not personal to me? I can't make it personal. Or do you kind of go, well, I need the money, I'll do it? Let's be honest. Like, how does the commercial world and the things you love work together?
I think it's a bit of like a bit of both, like turning some things down, but like quite often, like, you know, doing those things for money so that you have time to do your own things as well. I think, especially when I started out in the industry, I was at this company, Bluesy, for 4 years in the commercials department. And I think I was just so shocked that I even had a job that I just was excited to do anything. And so that helped. And I think then since especially with like, I've kind of moved out of the children's book industry now, but that was a place where I really turned down anything I didn't feel like something for. But I found that most books I didn't feel something for, so I had to like start finding the little bits that I could enjoy. And I think that's the thing, is that like I now, even if it's maybe the subject isn't something that I'm interested in, I try to find like how it can help me grow, or how I can learn something from it. Because like you said, there's not always a ton of projects that you will always relate to or find something personal in, but I think you can always find those interesting things to learn something new from. And I think that's what I've always tried to keep an open mind about, is like, oh, this job's about something that's completely unrelated to anything that I kind of want to be doing, but maybe there's something I can learn from that. That can help it becomes
the what challenge is here that I can unlock and keep me passionate about it.
And that's the thing, is like my whole career, I've been the environment person. So like, that's where my strength lies. And I've been saying to people like, oh, I'm terrible character designer my whole life. And like this year, since I finished on the movie with you guys, I've been doing characters for Aardman. I've been doing characters for the BBC, characters for Lupus Animation. I'm going back to Aardman in January to do like a combo of environments and characters. And my partner was like, Izzy, you're doing characters for Aardman. Like, you can't keep saying you're a bad character artist. And I think that's the thing, is that like, you kind of just adapt. And, you know, and like I've over the years have been doing little character things. I guess when I illustrate books, I'm doing my own characters. And I've got to the point where I've been learning little bits in those projects where they might not have been my perfect dream project, but I've been learning little bits. And now I'm doing characters, and like, almost all the jobs I've had since I finished on the movie are character stuff. And I don't know where it's come from, because I haven't suddenly been drawing characters anywhere specifically, but that's the job. So I think I'm always like, oh, I wouldn't have been selling myself or looking for jobs doing characters, but in these like development projects, I'm like a good enough character designer. Like I'm not an Esther Morales like on our film. I'm not one of those beautiful turnarounds. I can't do all that yet, but I can do it for the development and like commercial side of it. So I think there's always things to learn, and you know,
I think that's
adapt.
great because I agree with you that it's a rarity to find a layout and environment concept artist that will throw a character in there, but oftentimes you need it, right? And I don't want to have to go out and hire a character designer just to sort of say for this concept piece, can you just put the rabbit in there? And if you could say yes to that, and I think that's what you're saying is you started saying yes to that. That's just the entry point because you're still an amazing artist. You can put a rabbit in there or whatever that character is, I'm sure.
I think this is like a huge thing that I've wanted to start talking about. I've been talking with like students about it quite a lot recently, is like this not being fixated on like your career journey heading towards a specific role or a specific studio. Like I didn't want to just be an art director or just want to work at Pixar or whatever, because the people I see that do that are often like spend the whole time depressed until they've got that role, but then they're also missing those opportunities. They're very narrow-minded, like things that could help them grow, but because they doesn't feel like it's on their specific path, they're missing them and they're saying no to them. And that actually I've been trying to encourage students to have like your career goal is to have a sustainable and as much as possible fulfilling art career, so that you're open to try new things and experience new things. And I've found that by accident, because I stopped believing in myself. I stopped believing I could get into the US animation industry and all the stuff I wanted to do. So I was like, oh, I'll just be a commercials director in the UK. That's fine. Like, it's a great job, but this wasn't what my idea was. And so I was just open to anything, and I was trying children's book illustration and all that. And then I literally, within like a couple of months of deciding that, I'd been doing children's books for like half a year, I got an email from Netflix saying, do you want to come work with us? Initially, they asked me to be an art director. Then they found out I was 26 and hadn't art directed any TV shows before. So I led the art style and someone else art directed. But it was like, oh, the moment I like let go of that and kind of focused on actually what can I do to have a sustainable career that I'm enjoying, I realized that I was much more open to stuff, and then that thing came. And I think you can still have like work at Pixar, art director, or direct something on your list of things, but like it's not your end goal, because as well, I think you guys probably know it really well, of like it's not really a ladder, there's not really a climbing, you kind of move around. Like Tony, you directed Mulan, and Tom worked on it, and Tom's directing Light of the World, and Tony's worked on it. Like, no one's changing in skill, but you're moving around depending on project. So there's no point like wanting to be an art director and then being sad when you're suddenly just like a designer again, because it's like, oh no, but like on another project someone else is the right fit, and it's all flexible anyway. So sorry, that's my spiel.
That's a great thing. A lot of people think, oh wait, that person, or I, if it was me, just took a step down and now they're just being a concept artist or whatever. And well, no, that's not, it's not a healthy way to look at it. And I agree. No. You see it even at the Disneys and the Pixars within the conglomerate type studios, is they're moving around too. Like now there was you do see the Ron Clements and John Muskers at Disney, that they just became directors and they stayed directors. They were directing for the last, 20 years or so. And, but there's other artists that,
I think that's the model, Tom, though, for, just speaking on the director's side, I think a lot of people kind of grow up thinking that too, because the Disney, kind of industry that it is, that you usually start as an animator, work your way up to like a supervising animator, a senior player there. And then you make that next step up, which is the final step where you're a director and you direct for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And it's like that I think is the goal, is the dream of how to do it. But you're totally right. I love this conversation, Izzy, because I think you're right. I mean, I did go through personally, I will say there was some times where I had to like step into doing something else. And at first it was really basically because of timing or financial need that I would take an opportunity. And maybe it's not exactly what I wanted to do, but I enjoyed it so much. And I found, like, just like you say, Izzy, it was just this experience of, hey, I'm storyboarding now. I never thought I would do this. And I'm storyboarding on a feature. This is after directing Mulan. And I did some storyboarding on a Warner Brothers feature that never came out, unfortunately. But what a great experience that was. And I really enjoyed it. And just being part of the team again, of the storyboard artists and stuff. And then that's helped me now as I became like head of story on Light of the World, and I've been head of story on a couple films now.
Honestly, Tony,
And-
we would not have given you that job had you not storyboarded.
See, there you go.
Exactly. Well,
I remember showing the producers my storyboards.
Yeah.
I think it's all these like little things you collect along the way, you know, from doing things. And like even my first job, I was like not a great artist, but I've always had like an understanding of like color and atmosphere, and so I could do that to like make concepts. But I didn't realize at the time, it was only after speaking to my bosses who became my friends later on, that they were like, yeah, but you were directing and storytelling, but you also knew 3D animation because of the technical course. So I was like this perfect fit of someone that they could train to be a director in their studio, but I had some art knowledge and some 3D knowledge, and it was like all these things. And if I hadn't have had those other things, I wouldn't have got the job. And like you said, Tony, it's that thing of like, oh, I'll try this out, and then actually now you've got a new thing. And I know lots of people want to be a master of one thing, but I love doing everything. I think I'd get bored. Every time I get a long job like Light of the World, I'm like, oh my God, am I going to get bored? But I don't, because we're like doing some props, and then we're doing some environments, and then Mike says, Izzy, that's a great idea. Come and pitch it to Tony and Tom. And so I come and get to chat to you guys about some silly idea I've had for something. And I think that's really fun. And yeah, and like even on the note of people switching jobs, like just before the Netflix show I was on got cancelled, I was interviewing people as background artists to come on under me as a lead. And one of them worked on backgrounds on Tarzan. And before he came onto the video call, I was saying to everyone, oh my God, he was drawing backgrounds like as I was born. And I was like, how am I supposed to be his boss if he comes on to, like, I was like, I don't know. Right. And everyone was like, Izzy, do not say that when he comes on, because it's going to make him feel very old. And I was like, okay, I'll be quiet. But it's that thing. And that guy, I think his name was Doug. I can't remember. It was so long ago now. But he sent me an email after saying, just had a look at your art. I love it. And I was just like, oh my God, this incredible artist is like, and because our project canceled, it didn't work out. But it was just a really weird, surreal thing. And that's the thing, is like, I was so less experienced than him, but just on that project, I was that lead. And that's just how projects work. So I think it's good to let like aspiring artists that haven't kind of got into the industry yet know that like these things are always fluctuating and changing, and it's not, no one's lost any skills or is moving down. You're just like, you're kind of moving sideways, and depending on what project you're on, it's
funny you say that, because Tony, I think this is just as you reach sort of, I'll say end of your career. I'm starting to talk about me and Tony, so it's hard to say that, but you know, the latter half, we'll say, you know, we teach now, and so we're always making kind of a half joke, honestly, that like, oh yeah, when you guys get out in the industry, hire us, you know, because
that's like really, half a joke for sure.
It's less of a joke than it really is reality of like, you know, that's what's going to happen. That and I think you're right. The humble part of that is we're all artists, honestly, and people rise at different speeds. And Izzy, it's so funny that you said, oh yeah, I wasn't very good, but I was great at atmosphere. Or you didn't say great, but I know you were great. Atmosphere and color. And a lot of people, atmosphere and color, like that's the hardest thing to learn. And you just said that I had that, you know. But that's true though. Like you rose to the top, at least in that area, and then added to it, and at a very young age. And I'll tell you, like Tony and I, we were like looking at cartoonists and then comic book artists, and we're like, oh, that's unobtainable. We'll never know anatomy that well, you know, superhero stuff. And but kind of found the people that we could emulate. And hopefully you find even better people in your career, and even better, so that you're raising that bar of who do you look up to. I think a lot of people these days, I guess I'm changing the subject, I feel like they don't do that enough, that they feel like I'm never achieving that one person. You should feel like you've achieved one, and now you're going up to the next, whatever the next sort of mark is. Do you see that sort of when you teach nowadays from the younger crowd, that maybe they're not looking high enough?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard because like I think best is all. A few years ago, I was like, oh God, I'm never going to be the best. I think I really got to this idea that I've always had this feeling that like I'm not the best, but I could be. Like, you know, like there was a fire in me that I could be someone great, and it could be this. And a few years ago, I got really upset and depressed about everything, and I was like, I'm not going to be the best. And then I turn that around to being like, but that's okay. Like, I can be really good still. Like,
Yes.
you know, and I think it's like trying to encourage them to reach for the stuff, but like not to be the best. And I think almost my bigger advice is that I'm still not the best artist, and I'm getting more comfortable saying, okay, and understanding that I do actually have the skills I need now to get jobs. But I think it's about finding your like niche thing, your like unique selling point. I think like at the beginning, as I said, I had color and atmosphere and stuff, and then now I'm trying to like market myself as that I love storytelling and directing, and I like art. So I'm that person that can merge the two, and that I keep being really lucky at coming onto projects where I do have some influence over stories. It's still kind of malleable, and the scripts are still being written, and I can pitch things. And I think if you have that thing, like, you don't have to be the best artist or whatever, but you can have that little thing that kind of, you know, that your selling point of maybe you do something really well and this and that, and like trying to make try to shout about that and talk about it with people. But I do think, I don't know. I hope people are still reaching for the stars. I think it's I know everything's a bit depressing at the moment with the industry. So I think maybe that's probably people a bit worried about, like, I was thinking about going back to my, one of my schools and just that I went to when I was younger as a teenager, and talking about animation as a career. And I was thinking, oh God, do I really want to be like promoting it? Like at the moment, I'm not, it's so like up in the air. So I know that can probably is causing people maybe to their dreams are being lowered a little bit, but I hope people are still, I think it's about maybe not trying to be the best, but trying to be a really great artist and having like your unique thing. Because like I realized that I'm like, what is the best? Like, you can be the best skill person, but you might not have any ideas to make anything interesting in art. So no one's ever going to have your exact ideas. So your way of doing it, like my partner often says, like, he gets excited about drawing something and he goes, oh no, but someone's already drawn something similar. So why, like, what's the point? Like, he gets really like disappointed in it. I'm like, no, but you haven't done it. Like, you haven't done it. And that's your thing is going to be a different thing. Yeah. And I think, yeah. So I've learned it's like kind of maybe not being the best, but being really, really good and having your own voice of being the thing that makes it the best of that.
I love that. I love that you're this discussion, because then I love what you're saying, Izzy, because I feel like, you know, Tom and I were raised, and I don't know where it came from. I guess from our mom. We had a single mom who was just like so positive, and you can do anything you set your mind to, and all that kind of stuff. And it really goes down to ambition, I think, and I think you mentioned this before. And I think that's what draws Tom and I to some of the people that we have on the podcast. Certainly you, Izzy, is that you're a very ambitious person. We see that it's not about achieving the highest and being the highest and being, you know, knighted as the best, Aaron Blaze, who just got the Winsor McKay Award. Yeah. It's not about that knighting of everybody kind of saying that you're the best. It really is about you're striving for the best out of yourself. It's a personal best that I think is the best kind of ambition to have, is where you're just trying to use the skills and abilities that you have in the best possible way to please yourself. Is such a satisfying thing, and something that we try and please others too much, let's face it. And we allow our ambition to roll into that, to be able to say, you know, oh, Netflix hired me, or Disney, you know, says I'm the best animator on this production or something. But, you know, there's only one Eric Goldberg. I guess that's what I always tell my students. There's only one Eric Goldberg. Tony has to be satisfied with being in the top, whatever, 50.
Well, yeah. Well,
maybe I'd be generous.
You sure were. Yeah.
No, was I? Okay. Well, you're 51, Tom. Don't you worry.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. But I totally agree with that. Yeah. And there comes a point in your life, especially closer to our age, Izzy, that, you know, you do look back, you reflect, and you go, where am I now? And where am I headed? And because you know, Tony and I are going to try and die drawing. You know, we want to go all the way to the end.
Me too. Yeah.
I hear it's so funny. I hear people, my friends that are my age, talking about retirement, how they can't wait and all that. And I'm like, really?
Like, what are you going to do?
I know. Sit around.
How fun is that?
I can't be still. And I do have to warn people that, like, I'm very proud of my ambition, but I also don't always know how like 100% healthy it is. I'm still trying to like work that out, because like I was joking again with my partner earlier, like a few days ago, like, I don't have FOMO. I don't get like worried about people doing stuff. I was like, I have FONC, which is fear of not creating. Like, I always have to be creating. Like, I'm making that up as a thing because, like,
I love that.
You said it here, FONC. I got the
cannot
FONC.
stop. Yeah, like
Yeah.
one of the things is like I can't focus on the TV at night, so I started knitting maybe 2 years ago to kind of just like, when I'm knitting, I'm doing something with my hands so I can focus. But now I'm like designing my own jumpers, and I'm like, Izzy, stop it! Like, it doesn't need to be like a big thing.
You're drawing
like,
the logo right now, trying to figure out the branding.
Oh,
yeah, sure.
Yeah. No, I already know the branding. It's called Sandpit, and it's going to be a whole like art exhibition of all like my oil paintings that I'm learning and my knitting and all this stupid stuff. And I'm like, no, it doesn't have to be a big idea. And then it's like, yeah, like my I was pitching a feature film like for the last like little while, and it's not going to happen. But then a literary agent was like, hey, you should write it as a book. So now I'm like, oh god, now I have to write a novel. And like, and I'm excited. I keep writing bits down. Like, I'll be in the middle of a walk and I'll be typing on my phone like sections of the book. And I just
while we're doing the podcast, you've stopped several times to jot some notes down. Yeah,
I know, and it's so exciting, and I love that. And I feel like I could almost, like, I don't want to be too bleak, but I feel like I almost couldn't survive without creating. But also, I'm like, part of me is like, I love it and it's so integral, but then when's the point where I have to stop and take a break of things and making sure I'm relaxing enough, because I don't want to be on here like promoting like, hey, everyone should just be doing things all the time, and like, ambition is great. I think I don't know yet where the healthy stop point is. So it's a learning
that's another
process.
reason. That's another reason I hope people follow you on Instagram, because I feel like you're very vocal about that, and you're very transparent and open about the fact that, you know, sometimes you push too hard and you need to take breaks, and you talk about getting up from the desk or go walking the beach or something, or go, you know, having time with your dog and self-care, right? And so you know, it's that you do take time for yourself, but it can be hard. It can be hard to force yourself to stop.
And this is where I want to head next with you, is you've mentioned it already, but your partner is an artist. And this blows my mind, because my spouse, and we've known each other since high school, Izzy. And
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, 6 years. We're 35.
Tom found himself somebody to like him for 35
I know.
years.
Well, she was like on the drill team, very cute little short skirt. I mean, like,
I know.
You don't give that up. You don't ever give that up. And I'm an artist, so I'm never going to get that.
You're sounding like a pig right now.
No, I'm just saying it was.
Keep going.
I married up. That's all.
Yes, you did.
So, but she hates animation. I mean, that's bold. I know. She'd say I don't hate it, right? But she does not like it that much. It's not her thing.
Yeah.
And so I've had to live with that. I've always been jealous of people like you, Izzy, that have an artist partner. But the other side of that is like your ambition and your passion toward creating. I'm assuming he has that also. And Matt is his name, I think.
Matt. Matt. Yeah.
So, you know, I have somebody that helps me shut it down. You know, that's kind of what you're talking about, is how I would just live in it.
Like she pulls you away. Yeah.
She goes on a trip with her, you know, her friends or something, like a girls' trip for a week or whatever, or just went with her parents to Ireland. And I stay home and I just work all the time. And I know that's what my life would be if she wasn't. And then I would also do video games probably too and waste time. I would do both. But anyway, she makes me a better person by kind of packaging my work hours a little bit more. And but also still being supportive of those crazy ideas that I come up with, and I go, I'm working at night while she's watching TV, and we're both down there. I'm not knitting. I'm maybe typing a script, or you know, I'm like working on something else. I have my own little projects all the time, so I get that. But so you tell me. This the question is, how is that having a partner that's an artist? Are you good at shutting each other down at proper times?
I think we're probably good at calling each other out when it's when we get too far. I think I hope he doesn't mind me saying, he sometimes is almost jealous of the fact that I will have an idea and I'll just do it. He gets like a bit of that stunted, like, oh, but what if it's this? What can I like? He'll slow himself down, whereas I'll go, oh my god, idea, I'll go do it right now. So sometimes I worry that, like, I don't think it is a problem, but like, I don't want, again, like my ambition to be making him feel like he's not doing enough, because he's doing loads. He works all the time. And so I'm like, again, I'm unhealthy, Matt. Please don't follow my example. Like I try to remind him that. The really great things about it is like most mornings we don't live together. So he has children, I have a dog. We haven't combined that yet. So, and I've just bought my apartment. So, but we live like 5 minutes walk away. So most mornings we will go and have a coffee together. And we see each other each evening as well. So we see each other twice a day, but we'll have like a coffee meeting in the morning where we kind of like are talking about like what projects we're doing or like helping each other with ideas. And because he's quite a different type of artist, he's like very heavily illustration, but like for big advertising campaigns, and he does a lot of movie posters. We've kind of come at different angles, which has helped each other. So since I've known him, he's got much looser with his artwork, because I think my kind of animation and quick style of drawing has really inspired him to try to be looser. So he's found this really new energetic style that he really loves. And then, as you know, I've started doing movie posters. I was really actually resisting, because I thought, oh God, what a cliche if I start dating a movie poster guy and then I make some. And then like a year and a half in, he's the type of person that comes out of film and he says, oh, I can see a poster. It would be this and it would be that. And I started doing it and I was like, oh no, it's happened. Like, and now here I am. And like, so we've like kind of like influenced each other, which is really nice. But we do most of our evenings when we hang out, we're just either like watching the shows that we really love and stuff. So I think we shut off quite well, but we are talking about art a lot. And it sounds nice to have someone to switch off to. So maybe I'll start like enforcing some rules where it's like we do not talk about anything creative for 2 hours at least or something.
Oh, that's what Jen. Yeah, that's what Jen does for me. She's like, okay, we go on a walk, and I go into sort of, and a lot of it is business mode, because I am a CEO of a company, and so I'll start talking about, but any work talk, honestly. Yeah, she'll go, okay. Oh. Because I got to share this one thing. I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think about that? And because there's financial things that could affect our family, and I'm like,
your whole future.
Right. And so I kind of have to, I got to share it at a certain point, but it's usually a crazy idea at that point. I'm like, I got a kind of an idea. What if we did this? And she'll go, okay, blah, 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 blah. She'll give her 2 cents. And then she goes, okay, now we're not talking about work anymore for the rest of this walk. And so, I have to have that in my life.
I think the great thing is like we're really silly together. And I talking about all my projects having this very like poetic, heartfelt kind of like thing. I'm also incredibly silly. Like I say the stupidest things. I'm like, I kind of like mash words up. My brain like puts words that are the similar word together. So I'll say a word that doesn't exist often, but like I'm like I don't know. I try. Oh no, I say like my famous one that I said in front of like everyone at university was in charge. So in control and in charge. And like I instead in charge. Wow. But then there's things like that where I just like shorten things, and it's the same with sayings. Like I'll say like I think I said splash the boat out once, which is like splash out and push the boat out. Like I combine things, and my brain just does that. So I used to be really embarrassed about that, and like people would laugh, and now I'm like, no, I'm just silly. That's like who I am. But because I am a bit of a difficult character sometimes, which I try to not show on this thing, but I'm a bit, I think because I'm so all over everything. Anyway, me and my partner make fun of this, and he calls me Rat, and I have a rat ring on now. It's become a whole thing. His daughters call me Big Rat. Like it's like a whole thing. But we're constantly coming up with these silly
why
characters.
Rat? Why are you a rat?
I said I'm being a bit ratty one day, and he said, yeah, you are a bit of a rat sometimes. And then it's just really spiraled. And so now they chant rat, rat, rat at me and stuff. So there's always this silly stuff happening, and it's all like done with so much heart and love. But then we've started coming up with these silly characters based on like these silly conversations we had. And then I was like, this is a TV show. So we're now this year, our 2025 thing is we're going to start making the Bible for this TV show based on these silly characters that are essentially me and him and some other silly, and they're all animals, just silly things I've come up with. Like I'll say like, I was talking about some character, and then he'll say, oh yeah, wouldn't it be funny if this happened? And I was like, all right, we're both in on this. Let's both make this. And we'll be having coffee with his daughters, and they'll be drawing the characters as well that we're coming up with and talking about. So it's quite fun. And I think that's the exciting side. And I don't know if we made it, we'll see what happens if we actually work together as co-creators of a show, but it might be fun. Hopefully it works out.
I love that it came right out of your personality. Is there a big rat in the show? Is there a rat character?
Oh yeah, the rat character is going to be called Problem Rat, so this is an exclusive. So and that again came from them calling me a problem rat, because I am a bit of a I think it comes from my mum. She'll probably listen to this as well. She seems to always say to the partners I've had in the past, like, oh, I do hope everything, like, Izzy is a bit of a character sometimes. I do hope you're okay. And she'll almost like worry that I'm a bit too much for people, and I'm like, oh no. Right. And so yeah, that's basically the summation of me as a person, and I know it, so I'm trying to.
You're living into it. Level. You're living into it right now. I love that. I love it.
I just want to jump on that real quick.
You figure yourself out.
I love too that basically every little idea you make into a project, and you have a commercial mindset, in that you're like, no, I want to make it to something and release it to the world, right? Because that's what your projects aren't just personal. You never show anybody, like a painting or something. Even that you'd probably put on Instagram, right? You really are big about sharing it to the world and trying to, and I don't want to say commercialize because that does sound negative, but in a way do that and make it edible to the rest of the world. And I know that, so that mindset is sort of, I share that completely. I get that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk a little bit before we wrap up. Where are we at time, Tony?
We're soon wrapping up.
We are soon wrapping up. Oh yeah. Can you just give an overview of sort of what it's like? This is more for our listeners, but the European market of animation right now. We talk so much about the US market here, and I would love to hear your perspective of how things are going in England, but also in general Europe. Kind of where the jobs are, how do you even find work, honestly?
It's interesting because I always feel like I've been incredibly lucky. And I hear from other people that like they're struggling or they've been struggling to find work. And I know it's been in general quieter everywhere this year and a bit harder on that side. And I think that's where, again, coming in as a bit of a jack of all trades is useful, because I always have something else to fall back on. Like I can do a poster for a gallery. I can maybe do a children's book. I can do this. And I think, so since since I finished on the film with you guys, I've just been doing lots of little development pieces with like all UK companies, Lupus Animation, BBC. I've been doing stuff with Aardman, and they're like, a lot of them have been short jobs, like between a week to a month and a bit. And obviously I did the posters with you guys, and I think I've been lucky again of like, I keep preparing my looking for work post, and then I get an email saying, hey, do you want to do a week or two on this thing? And I go, okay, I'll postpone that and I'll do this. And so like my dream, I would love to just work on big projects like the Light of the World stuff all the time, like where you're
more long
kind of
term.
Comfortable.
Yeah,
you're comfortable. You don't have to worry about stuff. You're just, and you really get into like the meat of a project because you get to try lots of stuff. But then I love doing those development stuff as well, which is quicker and like, you have fun, and it doesn't have to be perfect because someone's using it to pitch things. So I think, again, it's being open to that stuff, but it does feel quieter in general. And I think, and getting those jobs, again, I've kind of been on and off freelance now since 2019. That's when I officially went freelance, and even working with you guys on the film, I'm technically still freelance because I'm in the different countries, so I have to be hard in that way. But I've just always kept a log of the people I've worked with on like Excel documents. And I think just over time, initially, you don't get those emails. You maybe get one every so often of someone finding your work and asking you. But now I'm at the point where I've built up those connections and I've worked with enough people that I almost seem to like, touch wood, oh my god, all the wood, that like things keep coming in. People keep asking me to do stuff, and obviously don't be complacent. Like I'm still I'll still continue to reach out to stuff, but I've only ever got one job that I've applied for, and that was the Golden Wolf job. Or I've never ever got anything I've applied for. It's all come, like even the Netflix job, the creator Lauren found my work on Twitter. that someone else had retweeted and asked me to work on the project. So I do count myself, like, I always get told off for saying lucky, but like, lucky isn't saying that I'm not hardworking or good at what I do, but I do seem to be in the right places at the right time. And I think I want to say, I want always to promote, again, being lucky, because I don't want people who are very talented artists to feel like, why am I not getting work? Like, sometimes it is luck. Sometimes it's like you've met someone at somewhere and done stuff. So I encourage people to like reach out to, you know, companies, like really look at the smaller companies, like in your area, if you're in Europe, like, or if you're in the UK, what people, commercial studios are there in London? I get emailed from like advertising people I've never heard of all the time, who are offering good money to do good art jobs. And I think it's just trying to obviously promote yourself on social media, which is really hard these days, but also reaching out to people and just kind of keeping an eye on stuff and keeping records of who you've emailed and when you've emailed them, so you can, like, you know, send them your portfolio again in 6 months when you've added some new stuff to it and stuff. But yeah, it is a bit, I think everyone's struggling at the moment, and I've just been really lucky that I've just having.
That's good advice. I appreciate you saying that too, as we kind of summarize things here. But Izzy, you're a person of you've developed that respect out there in the industry. That's what gets you the calls, you know, is that you've not only done, you're a great artist. You started with a great portfolio. Obviously, that's important to showcase who and what you can do, who you are and what you can do. And then on top of it is, you know, being responsible in those jobs. You've made your clients, your bosses happy with the work that you've done. You've been responsible. You get your job done, and then some. And it's that then some that really gets people to call you back a lot of times. You know, I want to work with Izzy. She is great. You know,
no, honestly,
I know Tom and I feel that way too. I mean, we all make a tally, don't we, of like who we like, who we admire, who we want to work with, and you know, once you have that good relationship and that great you know, opportunity to work with somebody, you want it again. You just want to keep saying, let's bring that team back together. And that's why a lot of people continue to get calls.
Honestly, success breeds success. So you're a successful person because I had success. Like if I was doing a movie poster again, I would go to Izzy, honestly, especially if it was something that needed that fun, quirky style, that just that right feel. You just did that in spades. And so, and you were a pleasure to work with, and you made changes easily, and you didn't argue, and you know what I mean? Like you got excited about the notes in a way. You could tell by what then your next sketches that you brought back were like, oh, she wasn't just, you know, doing exactly what we asked for. She thought it through and said, oh, they said this, but I bet they meant this. And so you did a drawing that addressed what we actually meant, probably more than even what we said.
Yeah, and I think that's always as well. I said this to people recently, like when you respect the people that are giving the notes, you do them really happily, because you're like, oh, they know what they're talking about. Like I've worked with people where I felt like this person does not know what they're talking about. And sometimes I've pushed back on stuff in the past where I've been like, I don't think that's the right call. But when you're like, you guys, I trust what you're saying, and I trust that like you know what this film is and how you want it to, you know, be advertised. So like, of course I'm gonna like, and obviously Tom, you drew around the characters, and I was like, cool, I get to draw around characters that Tom's like made look extra beautiful. So it's always fun. And I think it's nice. But yeah, there's a lot of luck always. I like, even for me, my Netflix show got cancelled. The film with you guys isn't out yet, so I have no production work as a visible portfolio anywhere. Yeah. So like my Netflix stuff, I can send it to people as a password for hiring, but no one knows I've done it. So again, I'm hoping that in a couple of years' time, when I finally have all that, like I finally have like light of the world stuff that I can show, I think that will hopefully mean that I get more US jobs and stuff, because people go, oh, she can do it. Because so far I've just had people taking a chance on me. But
here's the thing,
myself,
and I want the audience to hear this is, but you're not waiting for that film to come out, that whatever, that next opportunity, you know, like I'll get more opportunity once this thing gets out there in the world. Yeah. All your little side projects that you do, that painting that's in the background back there that we can see, that's going to be an Instagram post down the road pretty soon once you finish it. And that one thing right there could get you a job, because you're just constantly doing, and that's your drive, honestly.
Keep outputting,
You're just outputting, and people see that. And that's why you're getting phone calls, you're getting emails. They're coming to you.
it's also just doing the stuff that you authentically like. Like, again, the Netflix job I got because I was drawing pretty like European landscapes with witches and cats in, because I like doing that, and the show was about witches and cats and they wanted these magical environments, so it was perfect. And like, again, dream project because I drew the stuff I love. And I think if you make those things that like are really true to you, people can see that they're authentic and you've made them with like you've been passionate about making it. So I think if you're, because like I know it's stressful to output all the time, but if you're outputting just like small amounts that is really authentic and properly you, I think that's really important to
That was a Lauren Faust, right? That reached out to you. Yeah. I heard about that project. It's too bad.
Well,
that didn't happen,
folks. You're gonna see a lot of Izzy in 2025, but the one project that we're excited that we got a chance to work with Izzy on is Light of the World. It's coming out September 5th in the U.S. market and the U.S. theaters. So by then you'll be posting, because hopefully then there's always an embargo for artists that we can't post until the movie comes out. That's kind of a thing that's important. So I know you won't be posting probably a lot of stuff, but after September 5th, be checking out Izzy Burton's art on Instagram, because she's going to have a bunch of stuff that you're going to want to see. And go see, well, first of all, go to Animation Y'all. Okay, Expo.
Here we already did this, Tony.
In February. But
I wish I could go.
I know.
I wish you could too.
Next year. We'll figure it out for next year. But that's in February. I'm just thinking of the calendar, Tom, because we're rolling into 2025. So the first thing is going to be Animation Y'all Expo, and make sure you go to that in Nashville. And then May 5th, go check out definitely this movie that we all contributed to, that we're proud of, Light of the World.
I mean, September. You said May.
September. Did I say May?
I'm hoping you guys. I'm hoping you guys are going to have an American premiere with just like you guys and the crew, and I can then put it on my expenses, a trip to the US to come see you all, please.
Oh, there's talk. There's talk.
We can't announce anything.
No decisions have been made.
Secret.
Yeah. It's coming.
Oh, we'd love to see. Do you go to Annecy? We'd love to see you there too.
Oh yeah, I'm at Annecy this year, so yeah, I'm already booked in. So
I'm going to Annecy, Izzy.
Is it too late to get hotels? That's what I want to know right now.
Yes.
I don't know. I've nenever been, and everyone told me they sold out, so I already have an Airbnb. So I just got right in there.
Do you have extra rooms?
That's so smart.
No. Unfortunately, I already have my friend in the other room. I quickly sold out the other room, but yeah.
Yes, you got to do that.
That's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Annecy starts early for sure. All right, guys. Well, thank you so very much. We're just proud and honored to have Izzy Burton on the Bancroft Brothers Animation Podcast. Thank you, Izzy, and Tom, as we always say, animate from the heart.
If you like what you just saw, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, Pencilish Studios.